What's going on, you guys? Welcome to Risky Ryan Trades. Today we're going to be talking about Solana and the crypto market. Have you ever seen that meme where like there's the stock chart and then there's trend lines and then it's breaking the trend line and then next to it is like the black guy and he's like, oh no, and then under it there's someone just redrew the trend line so that it fits the price action, and then the black guy's like, oh, he's like all relieved and happy again. We all do it, and this is an example of a time that I've done it. And so we're gonna look at my new GAN for Solana, because the old one broke down, and who knows, it could reclaim that GAN, but I'm actually liking this one a lot more, and I have a lot of reasons for it, which we're going to get into. But before we do, why don't you do me a favor, hit the like, hit subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. If you've been watching my videos, and you haven't subscribed yet, you probably should do it. And comment below. Tell me why I'm wrong. By the way, disclaimer, I'm just some guy on the internet. This is not financial advice. This is for education, entertainment purposes only. Okay, for transparency, let's look at my old GAN. Here's my old GAN. I had a lot of reasons to like the GAN. It seemed like, we hit this GAN level, fell off, and then got caught in this GAN arc right here, and then graduated up to this GAN arc right here where we've been since, March of 2024, so a while. And it was looking like it was working. This GAN angle was holding up, and it should have held up because this is drawn correctly. It is technically a correct GAN square as far as the coordinates and everything go. However, after further inspection, and after watching this break down right at this critical moment, which is kind of scary, actually, if you think about it. But you can look at other moments in this chart, like right here, which were scary, and then it just recovered. Happens all the time. So I've drawn a new GAN square, and I want to walk you through why I like the new one, why I think it's going to be correct. Voila, here's the new GAN square. First thing I want to point out is that price action is actually using this first GAN fan as support at some point. You see in the old one, it never really used that as support. Maybe for like 3 months it did, 4 months it did, and then just could never break through it. So why if this GAN fan wasn't support, why would I expect this GAN fan to be support? I've noticed that the GAN arcs are more important to building your GAN around because they can trap price action for a long time. And so making sure that your GAN square has an arc that best describes the price action is, I think, where you're going to get the most amount of signal. One other thing I'd like to point out is I've drawn this GAN square. It's a much taller GAN square, and you can see that the anchored volume profile much more correlates with this GAN level. This GAN level is a reality for this chart. And this GAN arc has been the resistance point, and it's been resistance since 2021. Breaking this GAN arc is going to be a very big deal. Breaking GAN arcs is what sent XRP, from whatever it was, 44 cents to $2, $2.50. Once it finally got out of that, it's a huge moment for it. But until it can get out, it's stuck. That's usually how it works. So at the moment, we're stuck in a GAN arc. You can't deny it. We've had moments where like, oh, let's get out, but no. So this first GAN arc, you can call it a GAN arc. It's not really like a enclosed one, but it does exist. You can see price came back to it, found support on it, and then once it got out, it just went straight up to the next one. If that were to happen again, and really by June of next year, we should be like out of this GAN arc and not going back into it again. Hopefully sooner, but according to this chart, it would be perfectly normal if it took till like April, May or June, to kind of get out and up. But if we were to do that and we were to get up into this GAN arc, by then you're looking at a $1,600 Solana. which is a 10x within a year, within 6 months. This is not financial advice, but I can't afford to not have some crypto, some Solana. And by the way, I expect, when Solana does that, say Solana does a 10x, I bet Ethereum does, if Solana does a 10x, I bet Ethereum does like a 10x or like an 8x or maybe a 12x. I get that that is a significant difference, but when it comes to what it does to your portfolio, depending on what allocation percentage you have to crypto and to these individual cryptocurrencies, whatever your favorite one is, it's going to totally transform your portfolio if that were to occur. Now, if you have half of your portfolio in this and it goes to zero, that will significantly transform your portfolio as well. Asset allocation is very important. I only have about 10 to 15% of my overall portfolio in crypto. That's enough to greatly affect my portfolio if it drops to zero, let's say. But not so much that I'm like set back a decade or something, right? However, if my crypto 10x's in a year, then my overall portfolio doubles in a year. Crazy, right? So it's all about asymmetric bets. It's all about what's the minimum I can put into something I think is going to 10x, where I'm going to have a very, very solid return overall, like how it's going to affect my overall big picture, without risking so much that if it goes the other way, it's going to ruin your big picture. Now, if you got no money, if I only had $2,000 or something, I'd probably just be all in it because you don't have as much to lose, right? But once you get up there, you're going to need some stability. That's not the point of this video. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but I did want to explain, if you were to get this 10x, and actually I think what's more likely is we see a $3,000 Solana by maybe 2028. I have a little smiley face here because I think that price will be somewhere in this smiley face at some point in time during this period of time. Sort of like my call. I don't do options just because I don't like my money turning to zero. Like, I'd rather just invest in this and then wait. That's treated me really well. But this is my new expectation. We're going to get up into this arc, and it's a big arc, and we could just consolidate. Who knows? We could boink the top of this thing, get up to $5,000 Solana. Everybody's like, holy crap. And my big fear, actually, my really big fear, because if this Gann chart turns out to be the Gann chart that Solana follows for a very long period of time, usually the 45-degree angle is the one that it follows ultimately. And what could happen is we get up into here and then we just consolidate and die until January 2033. It comes all the way back down to $188 and everybody thinks that the crypto's over. That would be the most crypto thing for Solana to do, right? So I know my plan, if this does play out, I'm not going to get greedy. I'm going to take a portion of my winnings off the table at that moment. You're going to have to, that's probably a subject for a whole nother video, but it's a great idea to have I have an Excel spreadsheet where it has how many tokens I have, where I'm going to sell, how much I'm going to sell at each of those, so that if Solana, let's say that I'm wrong in the best way possible, and Solana gets all the way up to like a $391,000 token. I know that's crazy. Let's just say it were to happen. I want to have at least some Solana for that moment, right? So you have, like the way I have I have planned out so that I'm going to sell X amount here, X amount there, X amount here. And then that way, if it gets to my like total moonshot pie in the sky number, I still have enough exposure to it that when I sell it there, like I'm set. So that's the way I look at these things. You are free to leave in the comments what your thoughts are. But I did want to update you on my Solana chart. I did recently sell a lot of my Solana, switch it into XRP. However, recently I have been trimming my Ethereum to allocate into Solana again. I also sold some Solana for Chainlink, mostly because the reason I invest in crypto is for like grand slams. Like I have almost no Bitcoin because I don't like, if I'm going to invest in crypto, like I'm trying to 10x my money. I'm not trying to like just beat the S&P 500. I can do that with stocks. So that's not to say I haven't been buying some Bitcoin right now. Mostly because I have my bags packed. My bag's been packed. My bags are packed at the beginning of 2025. I thought alt season. If you look back at those videos, I'm like, man, alt season is coming, and damn, I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. So I've had more time to accumulate my altcoin bags more and more. And at this point, if my numbers hit, I'm good and then some. So now, yeah, it's time. 2026 for me is going to be stabilizing my portfolio. I'm going to start really buying healthcare stocks, Bitcoin, the things that are more stable. And it's hilarious because someone TradFi, maybe if you're over the age of, I don't know, 50 or something, and you hear me say like, I'm buying Bitcoin to stabilize my portfolio. Obviously, I'm 35, not 50. I have time to let Bitcoin work for me. The way I look at stabilizing my portfolio is, am I investing in something that's going to be here 10 years from now and going to be at a higher price and ideally is going to beat the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ? That's how I base my investments on. But your portfolio is your portfolio. Your goals are your goals. Your good financial decisions might be my bad financial decisions. I'm just a guy on the internet, but I hope you enjoyed that video. And until next time, Risky Ryan, out.